Welcome to the Real Estate Show on KMED. This first weekend of May of 2016. Pete Belcaster and Joe Brett, the real estate guys, with you. We're both real estate brokers with John L. Scott in Southern Oregon and get together with you once a week here on KMED to talk about all sorts of real estate related issues and topics and things like that. In case you've missed some of our past shows, you can find them all at realestateShowOregon.com. There are some terrific shows there. One of my favorite ones has been the Southern Oregon Land Conservancy. Yeah. They announced today, they got their $1.4 million grant out of the Oregon Watershed Council via the Oregon Lottery. Yep. And what's so interesting about that is the largest grant, they said, that has ever been awarded out of there to for a purchase of property like this, that Rogue River Ranch up there, 2.5 miles of riverfront property. What a beautiful 352 acres of land. I can't wait to see it.
They made a great case for that, obviously, to those folks.
Yeah, absolutely. Last week, we had Danielle Roberts and Hillary Rufai on from Sterling West Property Management. We learned about how difficult it is for people to find apartments in rental housing. I mean, it's horrible. It's very, very difficult.
It didn't have 2 units available?
Out of 400. Out of 400.
Yeah.
So you can see that it depends. Bob Gervais, our old friend from RE/MAX, who was on our show for many years, real estate, the market is different. It may be good for one side, but not necessarily for another. Right now, we're seeing, of course, the sellers are in charge of our market. Anyway, who better to talk about all this than Brad Bennington? He's the CEO of the Southern Oregon Builders Association. He's been on our show for many years, and Brad's also, of course, in the Jackson County Planning Commission, Jacksonville City Council. So Brad gets around Jackson County and the inside of the workings around
Talks
here.
To some pretty interesting people, I'm guessing.
He really does. Anyway, welcome to the show. Nice to have you here today.
Howdy, fellas. Yeah, what's wrong with the guy that does all that stuff? I tell you, sounds like he's got a few loose screws to me.
I'm glad you said that and not me, because I know what I love about Brad is that, this is indicative of kind of the people who are sometimes in our industry, in our world, who donate so many hours for our community, and that's great knowledge that you carry in your head, sometimes.
Well, one of the things that we all love about Southern Oregon, those of us that grew up here, is that we probably got, and I'm biased, but I think we've got some of the nicest people in the planet that live right here in Southern Oregon, and you and I all grew up around people that if they had 10 thoughts in their head, 9 of them would be how to make somebody else's life better. Those are the people we grew up with.
Your last few shows that you've been with us, you have brought some of the young builders in the valley, the next generation. Who are much younger than us. And I was just telling Bill Ashenden here at KMED, I was telling him how impressed we have been with these young men, mostly men. We've been so impressed with them in their what they do, in their community mindedness within the construction business, and they're doing it themselves. And anyway, I love that kind of thing, and good for you for getting these kind of guys to follow you, Brad.
Claudio and Tim Alvarez, and now that's passing on through the generations in that spirit.
Yeah. So many wonderful people that are just so committed to helping their neighbors in any way that they can. Isn't it great?
Yeah, it really is. Anyway, so if someone says to you, Brad, what's going on in the building trades right now? Tell, just bring us up to date on,
Brad, are you busy?
What's going on. Because we think it's pretty busy. Now, I'm not sure if that's true or the whole thing, but you know what's going on.
Well, I'll tell you, it's kind of a mixed. It's a mixed emotion for me. When I hit the north end of town, my wife gives me shopping duty and tells me to go to Trader Joe's and pick things up once in a while. And of course, in my mind, in my memory, there's this. The first thing I always remember seeing when I came into Medford was Medco.
Yeah.
The Medco building.
And you guys know that. I grew up in Klamath Falls, and Klamath Falls, when I was a kid, was a town that had 20 different mills in it.
Oh yeah.
And I just love the smell of a mill. The sawdust and that wood smell.
You drive into 140 out there, White Sea, and see those lumber stacks that go on for miles back there.
God help me, I just love it. Yeah. I love the smell of diesel in the morning and all that. All that stuff that goes with a mill. I love it. But the reality is, talking about new construction. You look at the tremendous expansion that's going in that commercial property. They've got Dick's Sporting Goods warehouse that's coming in. They've got, hundreds of thousands of square feet of new construction, coming in that area. Mm-hmm. And it's really miraculous, how fast it's hitting. We know that Costco wants to build a brand new store that's even bigger than their other store. And you know what? God willing, we hope it's going to happen. They've got a little. It's kind of, isn't it kind of funny?
I was going to say, Brad says, God willing, I hope it happens. Yeah. I'm just thinking, there's a lot of other people that say, I hope that doesn't go there, that we don't need that. But in all the Dick's Sporting Goods
and the Northgate
thing, it's going to draw. I mean, there's no doubt that it is coming because we are a retail center, right? I mean, that's what we are.
It is. You know, we've got a situation where, you know, Portland has been is going to continue to be, you know, the main epicenter for the state of Oregon for politics, for population, everything else. But unfortunately, but Southern Oregon is growing, and you can't deny it's growing. And the numbers are it's going to grow pretty fast over the next 20 years. Mm-hmm. So as fast as we're growing now, that pace is probably going to even accelerate more than you see it now. And for people that are looking at what's going on, they're saying, "Oh my gosh, Brad, are you out of your mind?" And no, I'm not out of my mind. You and I were talking earlier about something that that some people don't think about a whole lot, which is one of the things that's really driving this increase in residential development are people that are coming to Southern Oregon to retire. You know, they love the climate, they love the golf courses, they love the quality of the medical care, so many things that they like. And this is where we remember that, you know, our neighbor state just right south of it, in our case, is 18 miles south of us, is California. That state's got 40 million people in it. We've got 4 million. So what we were talking about earlier is they have more people retiring every year than we have people.
Population.
Well,
and they're going somewhere. Well, they're going to go somewhere.
The problem is, where are they going to go? Because if they all come here, we cannot handle. We are not going to be able to handle an influx of people here. Are we?
Not yet.
The reason I say that,
are you going to build a wall?
Well, in the SOMLS, we'll build a wall. Build a wall there at Hilt, off the exit 796, and you can't
block
go
up the
further.
Siskiyou Tunnel.
Okay. Well, just in case, just from the Southern Oregon Multiple Listing Service in new homes in Jackson County. Okay.
Yeah.
Last 3 months. Okay, a year ago 66, this year 65. So it's even from a year ago. But it's what's interesting about is where they are being built.
Yeah.
All right. And if you think out of the 65, it was February, March, and April, like almost half of them are in East Medford, and that should be no surprise to anybody.
Where the buildable land is.
Yep. Isn't that where all the
Right.
The lots are there.
That's
they're
the
developed and they're building.
That's where a lot went on hold back in 07.
So these 27 would be what, Brad? These would be, I know Hayden Homes has a bunch of properties that they're building along Spring Street there and Polish. Are they still up in Vista Point?
Yeah,
I mean, where are these 27 being built?
So if you go back, before I answer your question, I just want to give a little bit of context. So if you go back to 2010.
Okay.
2010, all year long, every single building permit pulled in Jackson County and in the city of Medford, all of them together, if I remember right, 12.
Mm-hmm.
There were 12 residential building permits pulled in all of 2010. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, one of our members, Hayden Homes, you mentioned Hayden Homes. Okay. Pick a number. How many homes do they have under construction right now?
I would say...
Give me a number.
200. No, that's too many.
That's a lot.
That's too many. 50.
No, actually, you were heading the right direction. Keep going.
More than 200?
Keep going.
I wouldn't even know.
Try 300.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
They've got, in one stage of development or another, they've got 300 homes going right now.
Just in this region?
Yes.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah. And the thing, and by the way,
that's an incredible number.
Yeah. It isn't just Hayden Homes. It's Mahar Homes. Mm-hmm. It's Mahar Brothers. Mm-hmm. It's Sam Sarich. It's Polish. Mm-hmm. It's Mark Wickman. It's Brock Smith. All of our builders. It's Brett Moore. It's all of our builders are running wide open right now because of these drivers that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, sure.
The people, we're a market-based commodity, right? We build the commodity and people say, okay, that looks great. How much is your product? Okay. I like the price and they buy it. Right now, I was talking to one of our, Brock, Homes by Brock, wonderful young man. He's building, done a lot of building out in Twin Creeks. Right now, he's going to be building up on the golf course. You know, the old Cedar Links golf course.
Cedar Links is going to start up.
He's going to be building up on the old Cedar Links golf course, and he has not been able to complete a house in the last year before someone has offered to buy it from him.
Wow.
He can't even get one done and put it on the market, and he's got somebody saying, I'll buy it.
Some builders are saying that they're back spec homes because they're selling them and things like that. We're seeing that. Well, of those, if half of the new homes are being built in East Medford, where do you think the other half of these homes are being built,
City.
Joe? Well, White City is certainly one of them. White City and Eagle Point are probably the two biggest, and a little bit in Central Point. Yep. And if you go to the south end of this county, Ashland, Phoenix, Talent, Jacksonville, you got like two. Is there any can people comprehend why prices are such in Jacksonville and Ashland? Because there simply is no new construction going on.
Well, Jacksonville and Ashland, they have a situation that they've kind of designed for themselves.
Absolutely, and we're reaping. We're reaping reaping it now.
Yeah, we're not going to talk too much inside baseball, but Oregon land planning.
Oh, come on, that's great radio when we do.
Yeah, Oregon land planning is more convoluted in Oregon than it is in any other state in the union. Oregon has the most difficult to comply with, most complicated land planning laws in the entire United States, anywhere, period.
And we've come to grip with that, and we all accept that, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, would you say, Joe?
That's land planning
we've been at this a long time with these rules, and
our land planning for the high deserts and the Southwest valleys is for the urban jungle.
So a few years ago, some of our leading development type guys got together and said, you know what? Why don't we work a deal for our whole region where we can kind of get a template that will work, so that when we go and bring these things in, that we don't have all these appeals to LUBA and so on. And that was called the Regional Problem Solving Group, RPS, Regional Problem Solving. And there were two communities that decided that they were too smart to sign on for that. And one was Jacksonville, and the other one was Ashland. And so now you got Medford's expanding their UGB, and it's going to be a fairly painless process. And you got Eagle Point, I'm sure, is probably going to be expanding, and then you got Central Point is expanding. Central Point's expanding there, and it's going to be a fairly painless process because they had the foresight to sign on to this, and a lot of the boilerplate stuff that needs to be done has already been taken care of through this RPS. But when it comes to our friends in Jacksonville and Ashland, it's So I can tell you, I live in Jacksonville, and I work. I'm actually the council liaison to the planning department there, and I can tell you, these days we have a really, really good planning department. They're very customer oriented. You can come into our planning department today, you're going to be treated like a customer. They can't always say yes, but they're going to be very courteous to you. They're going to get back to you quickly, and they're going to help you solve your problem, whatever your problem is. They're not just going to tell you to leave. They're going to say, okay, we see what you're trying to do. Let's give you some suggestions how you might be able to make this work.
Well, I've heard governments, I know that when you deal with governments, that's exactly what they should do. But dealing with them is a totally different experience. I don't care whether it's Jacksonville or Ashland or Medford. The fees that are charged, the kinds of things that you try to do as an entrepreneur to make something happen are so stifling that it's so difficult here. And that's what people complain all the time about, isn't it? I mean, you've got to hear that all the time.
Well, the number one driver in housing cost isn't the bricks and sticks; it's the regulations that control land development.
Absolutely,
that's not my opinion. That's what came out of a study that was done by two research scientists at UC Berkeley about what the main cost drivers were on housing construction.
Yeah. Well, it sure seems that's going to continue for a while here. We went through a period, as you say, when there was no construction going on, and here we are now seeing, in the 60s that would relate into about 240 starts, I guess, in the year. Wasn't that about that many at that rate?
So why what you just said is important. It's also important to realize one other thing. You said there wasn't any construction going on, and that's correct. It's absolutely correct. But the population drivers were continuing to roll down the road, which were people in California were still getting older, getting close to retirement. They just couldn't get out of their properties. The financial context was not there for them to sell those properties. And now that their property values have come back up and interest rates are still affordable, now they can get out and here they come.
They've rebounded hundreds of thousands.
And when we do our Market Watch shows this summer, Joe, with our John L. Scott agents, our fellow agents, we'll hear if that's true, if they're coming, because we will know if that onslaught is coming the way we think it's going to. It's certainly going to affect our market, no question about that.
Yeah.
And we'll see there anyway. Well, it's it's never dull with it, and to see new construction go up. $255,000, by the way, is a median price for new construction here, which is much higher than regular home sale median price. And,
yes, but
it's new construction.
A brand new home.
It's a brand new home. That's what I'm saying.
Energy efficient. It's all the qualities built in.
Yeah, we're up against a break coming up here. Rural properties sold during the last 3 months. 138 of them, Joe. Again, 300. They've topped the $300,000 median prices in rural properties now.
There's huge demand out there. Continues.
It's like wonder why.
I call it a gold rush around it. It's just remarkable. All the changes that are happening around us right now in the real estate market.
Or a green leafy rush.
It's new construction. It's recreational marijuana. It's this, it's that. It's generating dollars in our community.
Like money. Yeah.
It generates dollars, which generates jobs. And that's really a good thing as well. The Real Estate Show continues here on KMED. We're with Brad Bennington, CEO of the Southern Oregon Builders Association. We're coming right back to KMED right after this. Real Estate Show continues here on KMED this weekend. Hearing Pete Belcastro and Joe Brett, the real estate guys, with you. A lot going on around the market, that's for sure. You look, we've been telling you for months and months that more sales in real estate than there are listings replacing them. That actually changed a little bit in this last 3-month period, as we thought it would, because March, April, and May are generally the 3 busiest real estate months of the year. And I think that the stats bear it out. Pending sales, Joe, are up 11% from a year ago. And that's really good. Overall in Jackson County, new listings for the first time are up 14.6%. From a year ago.
They could only go one way. So.
And they're up. I'm trying to think of where the most of. Looks like East. Well, East Medford has always got a lot of properties.
Kind of a driver.
That really is the driver of the market. Days in the market are down 30% average. Only 44 days. John L. Scott's thing is to try to sell everything within 30 days. But 44 days is the average in Jackson County. That beats last year by 30%. And this is the one that you alluded to earlier about the original price versus the list price, what they actually sell it for. Right now, in this 3-month period, the sellers are getting 96.5% of their asking price. That is
what's wrong with that?
Well, it's nothing it's great for the sellers. I've seen these things over the years, where it's you get 80%. You go up and down on those kind of things, but 96% countywide is quite interesting.
Buyers beware.
Yeah. But the buyer, you got to be aware of this though. The bugaboo in it is that the available homes per buyer. In other words, the inventory that's out there is down 29.5% from a year ago. Okay. That's part of the problem. That's why prices are higher, because the inventory is so low, and the supply of inventory. Okay, that's how much in each area. It's down 40% from a year ago to 2.2 months supply of inventory. That is really quite remarkable, and that's why it's a seller's market in a nutshell.
I think we're starting to see some of the inventory come onto the market now, like we are this last month, and I think it reinforces Brad's point about the California market, where they now finally have the equity restored in the home. And they've waited out the storm, they've waited out the tough years, and now they can come back with their full price, get their full price down there, come up here, get a beautiful place up here. And it's also empowering our local folks who want to make a move up or down. They're now at a point where their equity is back and they can get in the market. And I think they've been waiting it out too for the values to come full.
And National Association of Realtors say in Oregon, 96% of homeowners are now have equity in their homes.
Above water level.
Above the water line. 96.1% in Oregon. In Nevada, it's still 80%, that kind of thing. But Oregon, so yes, people locally are moving up within, and the pressure from the outside, and you can see why it's 44 days on the market, why the inventory is not there, because it's being scooped up relatively quickly.
Yeah, well, we've spent the last 20 years advertising up and down the West Coast, and anybody that'll listen, come retire in Oregon.
Yeah.
So why are we surprised?
No.
Folks are
now they're ready.
Now they're doing it. So we have this, really this gigantic, almost tidal wave of people.
Tsunami
of people, really. that want to retire in Oregon, and particularly in Southern Oregon, because of all the the beauty, the weather, the the wine country, the whole deal. So all the statistics that you just talked about are very compelling in and of themselves, and also but just remember this: even your median price for a house now is what, $280? Did you say somewhere
in Jackson County?
Jackson County median is
244,
222.
222. Okay, so
244 was new homes.
So remember, if you rewind back, and we've talked about this before, you rewind back to 2006, the median price here in Medford, I think, was about $360, $370, somewhere in there. So we are still significantly below what we were 10 years ago.
Yeah.
On median housing. So
Okay.
what I'm saying, I've said this before, and this is just by way of reminding your listeners. The best deals that are out there right now are new homes on these lots that have not achieved. We'll just call it parity of value yet, right? The more this rolls down the road, the more people that want to come to Southern Oregon, the more these new houses get built and sold. It causes comps, right? So in our business, we can only sell a product for what somebody else sold their product for, right? That's what drives our market. We can only sell this house over here for what 5 other houses sold that were about the same price. So over time, as that goes up, the comps go up, and when the comps go up, the prices go up, and it's a self-fulfilling deal, right? The more the comps go up, the more the price goes up. The more the price goes up, the more the comps go up. Step. So what this means is, number one, it means for people that want to buy now. And the other thing is you can buy with a little bit of confidence, knowing that right now prices are still significantly lower than they were 10 years ago.
Of course, yeah.
And we're okay that we're not all the way back to 2007 levels, because that was not sustainable. And went too far,
Well, because
too
why
fast.
was it, though? It was double-digit increases in values.
Yeah.
It was lending practices that were horrible.
Yeah, there was a whole bunch of that went into that. Yeah.
Now, those things everyone tells us, and our listeners know, those have all been cured, right? Lending is really difficult. You can't just walk in and get a loan, things like that, right?
And over that time, Brad, aren't we right about, if we wouldn't have that incredible surge and then fall, we're right about maybe where the market would have been if we wouldn't have gone off the cliff and come back.
Well, yeah, there's a couple of different discussions that you can have there, but the main thing is just to realize that now really is a wonderful time to buy, especially if you're going to buy a new home. And the other thing that we want to talk about is whether you want to buy a new home, whether you want to build a new home, whether you want to remodel the home that you have now. You really need to look down the road. This is just, the faster you go in a car, the further you got to look down the road, right? If you're going 10 miles an hour, you can look maybe 100 feet ahead. If you're going 50 miles an hour, you better be looking a half mile ahead. Right now, if you want to do something in construction, whether it's new remodel or anything, you need to be looking at least 60 days down the road. You can't just pick up your telephone and say, hey, can you come here and put this new garden in? Or can you come here and install these windows for me, or do this or do that or the other? You really need to be looking 60 days down the road. So here we are in May. So if you want to do something in June or July, you need to be on the phone now and get those resources heading in the right direction. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen for you.
And we just don't have enough guys.
What do you tell people, Brad? Because I think when you get into this situation, think about realtors, Joe. You sell a house and you say you need some remodeling done in it, or it has to have, something's got to be fixed. These kind of things. There's no, they're 2 or 3 weeks themselves out. Inspectors and all these kinds of things are out there.
Yeah.
So it's really gumming up. It's slowing down the process an awful lot right now for everything. I think.
Yeah, and our people, they work so hard. I'm just thinking to this really nice young man, Brock Scott, Brock Build Homes. Here's a young guy, and he's just a young guy, and he's got tons of energy. But this kid gets up at 4:30 in the morning, and he works hard all day. Goes home, does his paperwork at night, and he's still answering phone calls at 10 o'clock at night. And then he's up again at 4:30 the next morning, to start getting his crews lined out. This is the kind of work ethic that our builders have, and they're out there. They are working as hard as they can. But folks that need building services, just, please look ahead and get as far ahead of your needs as you possibly can, because the better the people can schedule, the better outcome you're going to get.
And I can go on the Southern Oregon Builders Association website, can't I, and find, your members.
Yes.
On all of these kinds of things.
You bet.
I mean that's because they're all bonded and licensed. The worst thing you can do is hire somebody who doesn't have a license or doesn't have a,
don't hire unlicensed contractors.
So I'm saying don't do that
bad.
But the pressure on people to do that is going to be great because there's nobody out there to do the work that they need done.
Yeah,
that's a good thought.
And so you think, well, I can just hire this guy. I can hire Joe down the street. Kind of do that, and that's when you get in trouble. And that's just So we're really in a difficult situation.
You're going to end up on Judge Judy or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, too many horror stories about that. But the main thing is, most people do want to use a licensed contractor so that they get the outcome that they want, and that's the best way to do it.
You're just saying you got a plan now for something the summer or the fall. You got to start getting it in the pipeline.
You got a plan now, and this is a great time of year to do it. Here we are, May. I can't believe it, but here we are in May.
Yeah.
So take a look at it. Give yourself the benefit of some time and get out in front of it and order ahead.
Call sooner than later.
60 days ahead.
Get smart. Be ready. That's being a smart real estate consumer, which is what, of course, we all want to be. That's for sure. The Real Estate Show rolls on. We're with Brad Bennington, the CEO of the Southern Oregon Builders Association today on the Real Estate Show. We're coming right back to KMED right after this. Real Estate Show continues here on KMED this May weekend of 2016. Pete Belcaster and Joe Brett, the real estate guys, with you. We're available for any real estate information or questions you might have. You can contact Joe or I via email at Pete or Joe at realestateShowOregon.com. You can go to the website. We've got our telephone numbers there as well. We love talking to you and helping you out. It's a lot of fun, actually, especially when it's busy and there's a lot of activity. People are in a good mood, and it's just odd to me sometimes, isn't it?
Got a nice note a couple of weeks ago from Shelley, who's kind of looking around at some options out there, and we're just kind of emailing back and forth, and always enjoy that. We get a chance just to visit with our listeners and talk about their situation. We always learn things about our market and about properties out there that are of great value to us. So great to hear from folks.
Yeah, Brad Bennington, by the way, he's the CEO of the Southern Oregon Builders Association.
Oh, that sounds important.
Yeah. And,
wow.
that is. That's not though. That really. And membership. We're a member. We're members of the Oregon Builders Association, and
not actually tool wielding.
No, we're not
members.
builders. No, we're members of the association.
Don't call us for a remodel.
No, you don't want to do that. But anyway, we're talking today with Brad and kind of bringing you up to date on the building construction trades in the valley. There seems to be a lot of activity going on. Obviously, you guys are seeing the Planning Commission. You're still seeing developers come through. We've seen a lot of guys come through for smaller subdivisions, smaller areas instead of always large ones, right?
Apartment complexes are starting to make their way into the mix.
I see where a new veterans housing complex is also going to be built in Medford. So, there is movement.
Pretty up on it. Good job.
Well, there's something happening. It's good to hear because, tell you, when you hear story after story from people like Danielle Roberts and Sterling West, where the renters probably can't find them and things like this. I also want to remind you, please, if you're looking for properties, just this week there were like 7 new foreclosed properties that came open in the valley on homepath.com. Those were the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac foreclosed properties that they put back on the market. And they're there. So go to homepath.com and you can kind of sign up and you can have them come to you. You have to have an agent in order to make an offer, though.
I'll make a nice segue for you here. Brad and his guys have been building so many homes and been working so hard.
Yes, we have.
Wouldn't it be nice to just take a weekend off, get the golf clubs out, maybe take a few swings and raise some money for a good cause?
Wow, Joe, what a great idea. It's almost like you knew that we were going to have our 22nd annual benefit golf tournament this June 17th. It's almost like you knew that. Wow.
I'm going to play that actually this year.
Clairvoyant, yeah.
I thought you said June 22nd. Right?
June.
Not the 17th.
Isn't it? I think it's the 17th. June 17th for a golf tournament.
All right. Okay. Check and make sure that it's true.
Anyway, we'll make sure, but I'm pretty sure that's right.
I'm sorry.
But our golf tournament
June 17th is a Friday.
It's a Friday. That's correct.
June 17th.
So June 17th, our 22nd golf tournament. Our beneficiary is Redemption Ridge. Redemption Ridge, wonderful nonprofit organization that rescues and rehabilitates young women that have been victimized by the sex trafficking business. And and I didn't know that we had that here in Medford. I was
born
shocked.
here. This is an organization that is homegrown.
Yeah. But these are local people reaching out to these girls that need help, And our organization, we're very involved. The father of our president is building Grace House, which is where the girls are going to live. We've got a lot of our members contributing products and services and volunteering their time. So, and then this golf tournament is going to raise funds for them. So,
and how do I enter?
Yeah. Go to our website. We've got online registration there. Call our office. Whatever you want to do. And if you just want to, write them a check, there's a link to their website on our website, hbajc.com.
And you might save 6 or 8 golf balls.
And you might. But if you do want to come to the tournament, we're going to have lots of good food, lots of fun stuff, and it's going to be. We've had a lot of people tell us that it's their favorite tournament to play in for the Valley, and we really do. We do a nice job. After 22 years, we kind of figured it out a little bit.
And a shout out to Frank Mania, who's organized it for all 22 years.
Frank Mania.
He's a very organized guy.
Frank Mania, 22 straight years. He has been the director of this tournament. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
What a guy.
Yeah. I stopped after 20 years of doing things. It's time for change. But, Frank is still into that. He still loves it. And as long as you still love it, you should still do it if you want
great
to.
Results
absolutely.
Too.
Well, you've got another big event. Oh, by the way, are the home builders this year, are you going to build another home?
Yes.
Like you did last year out in Eagle Point? You're going to do that again? We
don't know that it's going to be Eagle Point, but yeah, we're going to do another home again. Okay. Yeah. One of the great things about our organization is we're not for profit, but we raise all of our own money. So we the things that we do in the community, we raise our own money to do it, and not that there's anything wrong with the other guys, I just like the fact that we do it that way.
Okay, well, like you're doing a home here because you raise the money, you build a home. If you're a home builder, you ought to build a home, right?
Yeah.
Got to have home builders build a home. You can show
Pretty
off.
good business plan.
Now, one of the other things that I keep wanting to call you the home builders here, but the Southern Oregon Builders Association are doing. They used to have 2 home shows in the year, and they switched that, as our listeners know, to 1 home show and then a tour of homes. They did the first one last October. And it was a big success. I remember Brad just thinking, I couldn't believe how many people actually came out and went to this. You've already got it planned for the fall, and it's going to be bigger, better. It's going to be really something.
Yeah. We're going to have over 30 homes on our tour of homes this year. We've already got over. I mean, it's still 5 months down the road, but we've already got over 20 homes committed to it.
Already,
and all of our top builders are committed to being in it. So the reason it's such a great event for the public is that you hardworking realtors, you have open houses all the time, but they're here and they're there and this and that and the other and so on and so forth. What's really nice about this is that we've got a map. We publish a map. We've got a data sheet on every home. We've got the home. We've got the builder. We've got the floor plan. We've got the subcontractors that worked on it, and you can just chart your own little tour and just see everything about that house. And usually the builders are there themselves in the home to answer questions, to meet the people, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful way for people. And you get to see houses that maybe not normally you'd want to buy. Maybe it's a little out of your price range one way or the other. But you just
poke around and check it out.
Go poke around in it,
especially if you kind of design your own. You can take a little piece of this, little piece of that. And put it together into your own thing, and you can still do that. People still do that, don't they?
Yeah. Quite simply, the Southern Oregon Tour of Homes is the largest marketing event for new housing in Southern Oregon. Period. All year long.
All right, it's coming up September 16th, 17th, and 18th.
Your biggest problem is going to be having homes that haven't sold that you can actually show to people, and people haven't moved in.
It's true. It's true. Pete, go ahead. You're right.
I'm saying it's coming up September 16th, 17th, and 18th. And then the 23rd, 24th, 25th. So it's 6 days in September, which is a great time to do that. The weather's great. The homes are perfect, and the way it goes. Well, look, we're going to be out of time here, Brad. Nice to see you, visit with you again. And
good to see you guys.
Keep up the good work. We've got a lot going on as spring heads into summer, and I know the Home Builders Association, the builders are going to be really busy.
We're here to serve the people. We're the information hub for construction in Southern Oregon. We're free to the public. Any question you have about construction, give us a call. We'll try to point you in the right direction.
All right, that'll do it for the Real Estate Show this week. Hey, for Pete and Joe, have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next Saturday right here on KMED, and God bless you all.
You've been listening to The Real Estate Show on KMED AM and FM radio, presented by John L. Scott Real Estate of Southern Oregon, along with All Cities Property Management, the Home Builders Association of Jackson County, Ditech Mortgage, the Jackson Soil and Water Conservation District, and the Rogue Valley Association of Realtors. For guest information or to watch a past show, visit us online at realestateshoworegon.com. Join us again next weekend for Southern Oregon's one and only Real Estate Show on KMED.